Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into some really fascinating source material. It does something quite spectacular, actually.
It really does. It drops us right into the pretty brutal political scene of 14th century Muscovy.
But then it peels back a layer, doesn't it? It shows how all that politics is sort of tangled up with ancient Russian folklore. Magic, even.
Exactly. We're looking at a period of intense instability, specifically the end of winter leading into the Maslenitsa festival, which is always chaotic.
And the focus is on a young woman, Vasilisa Petrovna.
Vasya, that's her, Vasya. And she's navigating this world disguised as a boy, Vasily Petrovich, trying to carve out some kind of autonomy for herself in Moscow.
Which, given the time and place, is incredibly high stakes. You've got Moscow ruled by Grand Prince Dmitry Ivanovich.
Right, Dmitry. A ruler with real power, definitely, but it's very conditional power. He's not fully independent.
Okay, so our mission here for this deep dive is to untangle all these threads. We've got Dmitry, Vasya, her family.
And then these powerful, supernatural figures they interact with. Morosko, the Winter King, Cachet, the Deathless.
Gods and monsters, basically.
Pretty much. And we need to see how Muscovy's struggle against the Golden Horde, the Mongols, gets completely interwoven with Vasya's own personal fight for self-determination, for female power.
Okay, let's set the scene first. This political cage, as you called it, Moscow itself, what did it look like?
Physically, the sources describe it sitting high on a pine-covered hill where the Moska and Niglinaya rivers meet, a strategic spot.
But politically, Dmitry's constantly looking over his shoulder, you said.
Absolutely. It's not a stable, unified nation like we might think. It's fundamentally a tributary state.
Meaning he pays tribute to the Mongols.
Yes, the Golden Horde. The sources make it clear Dmitry acts like a sovereign, holds court, leads armies, but he still needs the Khan's blessing, essentially.
That's the patent, the Yarlik.
The Yarlik, exactly. That Mongol stamp of approval is needed to legitimize his rule. So he's always negotiating tribute, dealing with Mongol ambassadors, worrying about alliances, or just outright invasion. The stability is thin.
And Vasya's world reflects this instability, you're saying?
In a way, yes. She's our central figure, Vasya, defined by this fierce independence. And her connection to her horse, Solovey, is really important.
Her war horse.
The war horse. And she takes on this male identity, Vasily Petrovich, specifically to avoid the path laid out for women of her class.
Which was what? Marriage and
confinement, basically. We see the contrast starkly with her sister, Olga. Olga lives in the Turum.
The Turum. That sounds significant.
It is. It wasn't just a room. It was the secluded upper part of the palace, specifically for highborn women in old Russia. Yeah. Total isolation, almost.
So Vasya's disguise isn't just a preference. It's a rejection of being locked away.
A complete rejection. A rejection of being politically invisible, too.
Okay. And then there's her brother, Sasha. He's the opposite.
In many ways, yes. Brother Alexander Peresvet. He's a monk, but also a warrior. From the Trinity Lavra Monastery.
A key figure for Dmitry.
A very key advisor. Hugely respected by the people. They sometimes call him Lightbringer. He represents piety, duty, military strength, loyalty to the Grand Prince. Everything Vasya seems to be running from.
So Sasha is institutional power.
And Vasya represents something older, more indigenous. She has the sight.
The sight. Okay, now we're getting into the folklore part. What does that mean, having the sight?
It means she can see the spirits, the charity. These aren't abstract beings. They're the spirits of the household, of nature, that ordinary people couldn't see, but, believe were everywhere.
Right, so the supernatural is just part of the everyday furniture for her.
Exactly. It's tangible. The sources even list them. The domovoi, who guards the hearth inside the house. The bannock in the bathhouse. The Vasila, who looks after the horses in the stable.
So these spirits are as real to Vasya as any person.
And just as demanding, probably. They have their own rules, their own needs.
Wow. Okay. And you mentioned foreshadowing. Something about a folktale.
Yes, a huge piece of foreshadowing comes when Olga tells the story of Snegorochka, the snow maiden.
I think I know that one. Doesn't she melt?
She does. She chooses mortal love, human warmth, fire, over her cold, winter immortality. And it destroys her.
Ah, so it's a warning.
A massive warning. It sets up this core conflict for Vasya, doesn't it? The choice between the mortal path, maybe love, maybe family, and this other path of ancient, cold magic, which comes with its own power, but also its own dangers.
That choice, mortal versus magical, seems like it leads right into the political crisis brewing. Sasha comes back to Moscow with bad news.
Terrible news. He's been away investigating in the southern steppe, and he's found burned villages, multiple burned villages.
Raiders. Standard stuff for the borderlands.
That's what it looks like at first. But Sasha notices something specific, a disturbing pattern.
Oh, jeez.
The raiders weren't just looting, they were systematically taking girl children.
Girl children, why?
To sell them south, into the slave markets. This changes everything. It's not random violence.
It's organized. Purposeful.
Exactly. The sources show us this was a real tactic. Destabilization through, essentially, human trafficking. It weakens the region, provides resources for the enemy. It's sophisticated, political.
And this brings the antagonists onto the stage, disguised as allies. First, Katherine Lutovich.
Right. Katherine Lutovich, red-haired boyar, rides into Moscow looking all noble, says he needs Dmitri's help fighting these very bandits. Even brings gifts, like a really valuable filly, playing the part perfectly.
And at the same time,
Exact same time Shalubi arrives, he's the official Tsar ambassador, sent by General Mamai of the Golden Horde.
who's General Mamai?
A powerful Mongol general, a major player in the Horde's internal politics, and a direct threat to Dmitri. Shalubi is there to press Dmitri for more tribute, demand military alliance, classic pressure tactics.
So Dmitri's squeezed, bandits internally, Mongols externally.
Completely trapped. And this is where Vasya's sight, her unique perspective, becomes crucial. She sees the connection others miss.
What does she see?
She realizes that Shalubi, the official Tatar ambassador, is the bandit captain leading the raids.
Get out. The ambassador is the bandit.
The very same man. It's a bombshell, a political earthquake, like you said.
So the whole crisis isn't two separate problems. It's one coordinated plot.
Precisely. This banditry is a sophisticated operation run by Mamai's agents, designed to sow chaos, drain Dmitri's resources, steal people, all to soften Muscovy up before a bigger move.
Wow, okay. And all this tension is building toward the Maslenitsa festival.
Yes, the perfect cover. Maslenitsa's, 7 days of feasting, drinking, masks, games. Social rules get turned upside down. It's absolute chaos, ideal for plotting.
And Katherine Lutovich uses this chaos.
He does. He sets up this spectacular horse race, a big wager against Vasya, who's still riding as the boy, Vasily Petrovich.
On her horse, Solovey.
On Solovey. And she wins. She wins the race, wins the wager, which includes that prized mare Kasyan brought as a gift. She later names the mare Zolotaya.
A moment of triumph for her.
A brief one, because Kasyan immediately springs his real trap, right after the race in front of everyone.
What does he do?
He publicly attacks her, physically strips her, revealing to all of Moscow that Vasily Petrovich is a girl.
No.
Yes. It's brutal in public, but it's more than just humiliation. It politically destroys her male identity. And, crucially...
She implicates Sasha, her brother.
Exactly. He accuses Sasha, the revered monk, the Lightbringer, of knowing about the deception all along, of basically committing treason against the prince by allowing it.
That's devastating. What happens?
It completely shatters Dmitri's inner circle. Vasya is captured, confined, finally forced into the fate she fought so hard against. And Sasha, he's arrested, imprisoned in the monastery, accused of betraying the prince.
So in one move, Kasyan removes Vasya's unique intel and Sasha's moral and military support from Dmitri's side.
Precisely. Moscow's defenses are suddenly crippled, just as the real threat is about to materialize.
But wait, Kasyan, this red-haired boyar, he's not just some clever political operative, is he? There's more to him.
Much more. This is where the folklore layer rips through the political one. We find out Katherine Lutovich's true identity.
Which is?
He is Kashe the Deathless, the ancient sorcerer from the myths, the one who can't be killed easily because he hides his life, his death, outside his body.
Kashe. So the political mastermind is actually this legendary sorcerer.
That's the brilliant twist in the source material. It uses myth as camouflage. Kashe is the political schemer, orchestrating the raids, the betrayal.
But where did he hide his life? Stories always say it's in an egg, in a duck, etc.
Here, the source says he hid his immortality, his death, inside Tamara.
Tamara? Who's Tamara?
Vasya's grandmother, or rather, her ghost. The girl in the tower Vasya sometimes sees.
Her own grandmother.
Yes. So the entire political plot, the attacks, the betrayal of Sasha, it's all rooted in this deep, magical, generational conflict centered on Vasya's family line, her blood. Kashe needs something from them.
This is getting incredibly tangled, and there's a priest involved, too, Father Konstantin.
Right. Father Konstantin Ikonovich, a priest who Sasha had actually helped, saved from illness earlier.
So why does he turn traitor? What does Cachet offer him?
Cachet, it seems, promised him vengeance for some past grievance.
Oh.
But his role is specific. Cachet needs an insider.
To do what?
To kidnap Maria, Vasya's young niece.
Why Maria?
Because Maria, like Vasya, also has the sight. She can also see the Cherti.
So Cachet isn't just trying to take Moscow. He's trying to control the whole lineage, anyone who can access that spirit world.
Exactly. He's trying to secure the future, control the magic of the land itself. The betrayal goes deeper than politics. It's spiritual.
Okay, so Maslenitsa ends, Sasha's imprisoned, Vasya's confined. What happens next? The attack.
The full assault. Coordinated perfectly. Cachet's men, Chaluby's Tatars. They hit Moscow just as the festival chaos peaks, aiming to overwhelm the guards and depose Dmitri.
And it's not a normal attack.
No. Fires spring up unnaturally fast, spreading wildly, and the attackers. The sources say some looked like ghostly figures, unsettling, terrifying the Russian guards. It's psychological warfare mixed with real fighting.
Moscow is burning. The defenses are failing. What can Vasya do? She's locked up.
She manages to escape her confinement, but she sees the city burning, sees the devastation. She understands the situation is desperate, and she remembers something about her protector, Morosko,
The frost demon.
the Winter King.
Yes. She realizes he only appears, truly manifests, when someone is dying, when death is imminent.
So what does she do?
She makes a terrible choice. A sacrifice. She runs straight into the biggest fire near her sister Olga's burning palace.
She's trying to die, to summon him.
She's offering her life, meeting death head-on, believing it's the only way to call Morosko, the god of winter and death, to save the city.
And does it work? Does he come? He does. The sources describe him appearing right there in the Inferno. It must have been an incredible sight.
And what does he do?
His arrival is immediate, decisive. He brings winter back in an instant. A massive, sudden snowstorm. It smothers the flames, engulfing Moscow, and the unnatural cold drives back Cachet's men and the Tatars. He saves the city.
Wow, so he saves Moscow, but Vasya, she survives the fire.
She survives. Morosko pulls her out. But there's an immediate cost, a revelation. She learns the truth about her bond with him, and the sapphire jewel he gave her earlier.
What truth? He didn't just protect her out of affection.
Not entirely. It turns out he used her, used the power in her blood, her unique lineage, combined with that sapphire talisman, to bind himself to her.
Bind himself, why?
To stop himself from fading. He's a winter god. As the seasons turn, as belief perhaps wanes, he weakens. He needed an anchor. He chose her, hoping her life force, maybe even her love, would sustain his immortality, prevent him from disappearing when spring came.
So she was basically meant to be his lifeline, his cosmic battery.
That's a harsh way to put it, but essentially, yes. He bound her to him for his own survival.
That's a heavy burden. How does she react? Did the family survive the attack phase?
The family survives, yes, though tragically Olga loses her unborn child in the chaos. But for Vasya, this revelation about Morosko is the final battle. It's internal.
Does she accept it? Being bound to a god?
No. She rejects it, utterly. She refuses to be used, even by a god she might have felt something for. She casts off the sapphire jewel, severing the magical tie.
Choosing her own path.
Exactly. Choosing messy, mortal, difficult autonomy over being an instrument for someone else's immortality, whether it's a god or a prince or family expectations.
That's quite an ending for her arc in this part of the story, refusing to be the battery for a god.
It's incredibly powerful, isn't it? It resonates far beyond the 14th century. It's about personal freedom, self-determination.
Yeah. You really have to admire the source material for weaving all that together. The personal, the political, the magical.
Absolutely. And I think the deepest insight here really lies in that conflict of allegiances, Where does loyalty lie? To your family, to your prince, Dmitri. Or, as Vasya chooses, to your own self, your own fierce nature, even if it's tied to ancient demanding magic.
She rejected every cage they tried to put her in. The term, the expectations of service, even the god's binding.
She did. And it shines a light on how, in this period, political maneuvering and mythological conflict weren't separate things. They were deeply intertwined.
Like the Mongol plot to destabilize Moscow, being at the same time Cachet, the sorcerer's plot, to grab control of the land's ancient power.
Exactly. The ambassador is the bandit. The political threat is the magical threat.
So, thinking about that connection, the way myth and magic were used, or maybe disguised, by political actors.
It raises a provocative question for you, the listener, doesn't it? If the ambassador and the bandit are one, if a dying god seeks power through binding love, How much of what we call history, we might ask, is actually myth and magic that was just successfully disguised and then written down by clever men?